All right. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you're coming from. My name is Aaron Lawson, and I belong to the team demarche. My team consists of Amma, Barkisu, Ladi, Grace, Randolph, Bowen, and Rosemont. And our focus is to present on the westernization of international relations theories and whether it is really good that all these theories are westernized or not. Now, this is the main presentation focus. And the question is that much of our understanding of international relations has been shaped by Western ideas and theories. Is this necessarily a good thing? Now, our team did a thorough research and we came out with the following. We're going to look at the introduction, significance of the study. We're going to present our findings based on the theories, whether it is westernized or not, and present some case studies on literature reviews, give implications of this to non-Western countries, recommendations, and conclusions. Our introduction basically starts with the fact that international relations is an interaction of nations, states, and organizations, non-governmental organizations, and it is also in different perspectives of politics, economics, and that of health and security. Now, we believe that international relations is a subject matter that is diverse and is in different fields, academia, politics, economics, security. But we cannot talk about international relations without talking about the theories and ideologies. Now, the fundamental question is that these theories and ideologies form the basis of international relations, and they are geared towards enhancing intellectual discourse, learning, and also contribute to address global issues. The question we want to address is that, are these indeed, these theories and ideologies westernized? And if they are, is it a good thing? Of course, we will do that by assessing the significance of our study. The significance of our study is to look at the reasons behind international relations theories and ideologies being westernized. Also, we seek to reinforce the need to just move beyond just the traditional Western-centric theories and ideologies of international relations and address current global issues that are also applicable in non-Western countries. Now, we'll start by our findings. We looked at the major theories and ideas of international relations. And of course, we cannot go without looking at the 5 major theories that we know: realism, liberalism, constructivism, Marxism, and functionalism. These are a set of ideas that explain international systems and how it works. Now, our major focus was on the 2 of these theories, but I must emphasize that most of these theories of international relations are based on the idea that the states always act in accordance of its interests. The state focus on its major interests rather than other interests of other countries. Now, the question now is that the 2 major theories, what are they? Realism is one of them. And in realism, we are looking at the fact that it assumes that the states are the primary actors when it comes to international relations and international politics or systems. And if you look at the proponents of from Thucydides to E.H. Carr to Kenneth Watts, all these philosophers and historians are from the West, and they developed this philosophy based on the fact that the states are the primary actors when it comes to international politics and international systems. But liberalism, on the other hand, look at it from the political and social philosophy, which believe in liberty, freedom of expression, free markets, democracy. And the proponent of this are John Locke and Thomas Hobbes. They believe that there should be that sovereignty of freedom of expression, the idea of liberty, free market systems. Now, these 2 theories form one of the key bases for our position that most of these theories are westernized. But for further case studies that we find out, we also realize that there is a publication that was done in the International Relations Asian Pacific by Amati A and Bara B. And they did a 10 years case study process where they asked a question: why are there no non-Western international relations? And surprisingly, some of the key findings that they found, which we also share with you guys, is that one of the reasons is because of the early knowledge and understanding of international relation theories, and which was discovered by most of these philosophers that I've mentioned. This understanding had a wider influence, and to a large extent that it preclude other voices of non-Western countries' theories and philosophies. So there was a dominance for some period of time in terms of intellectual discourse when it comes to theories and philosophies or ideologies of international relations. And this dominance also created some kind of discouragement from others from also formulating theories to support this international discourse. There was also the lack of resources and local conditions prevailing at that time that discriminate against the production of other international relation theories. Now, we also realized that there's lack of global representation and diverse perspective when it comes to international relation theories and ideologies. All of the theories were more Western centered, or like the Westphalian treaties and the rest are all Western centers. And we believe that there must be a global representation, because international relations is more global in perspective, and its theory and ideologies must represent the global reflection of other non-Western countries. Now, as a result, we concluded that it's limited in scope, and it needs to be also address current dispensations of issues, for instance, globalization, cultural diversity, geopolitics, and other emerging issues in other non-Western countries. Now, what are the implications of this? One of the implications was the colonization. And this negative effect was, as we all know, slave trade, human rights abuses, unfair exploitation of natural resources, unfavorable economic conditions. All these have implications on other non-Western countries. There was also the missing knowledge gap that was created because it was all Western-centered, and we felt that findings need to go beyond the Western side to look at the knowledge gap that would fill the world in perspective, and not only non-Western countries. And it must reflect the current realities and not just Western philosophical ideas and theories. What are our recommendations? Our recommendations are simple. One of them is that we believe that there should be an indigenous policies. These policies should also reflect non-Western, and these policies should have a proper solution to internal and also global issues. And there should be an establishment of a non-Western research and development institutions that would develop practical theories that reflect current dispensation and current issues that pertain to the world currently. Of course, we also believe that there should be negotiate stronger bilateral trade agreements that can be used to have a mutual benefit for all countries. Now, what are the conclusions that we came out? We concluded that Westernization of IRE theories is not entirely a bad thing, but we believe that it's limited in perspective in addressing current global issues. Now, we think that the need for international relation theories, which should have a world historical framing rather than just a Western historical one. And there's a need for the non-West to both challenge the Western bias and get its own histories into play within international relations. And of course, we believe also that then there should be a change in narratives of this historical precedents to reflect the modern times and address global issues. Why? Because different countries have different cultures, different issues, and therefore will have different perspectives. And all these perspectives are very important in shaping the international discourse and addressing the issues that pertains current and emerging issues. These are our references that we have. And then we thank you very much for listening. And if there are any questions, we are ready to answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And if you can stop sharing your screen for now. And this is a very powerful presentation. I don't know about you, but for me, if I am scoring this, I'll give it A-class presentation. I'm sure Jaron will agree with me. If you understand theories and methodologies, you could realize that they dive deep into it, and they were able to analyze and came out with strong recommendations, which is a very, very good. I will make sure that this also gets to the appropriate place, but very good presentation. I will now ask for questions. Yes, we have Jaron. It's up.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, again, a very good presentation. Well, I think everyone paid really good attention to all the lectures that for 9
That's
weeks.
right. That's right.
That's good to know. That's so. Yeah. Well, first, just saying, of course, it's the international relations is based on Western ideas, but the United Nations is, of course, it's not just the West. So, I mean, right now there are many UN working groups who are they are focused. They have a perspective also of African nations, so everyone around. For example, I was at the expert mechanism, the MRIP, the expert mechanism on the rights of indigenous peoples in July. I had a speech there as well. But they are really trying to get away from a narrow perspective on just liberalism. So they also look at people's rights and social and economic rights. I just want to say that. But my question is really, you say, of course, non-Western, but of course, you now have China, who is rapidly becoming an economic and political rival of the West. What do you think would that be? What would be implications for Africa? Would it be good, or would it be bad, or would it be something new? What do you think about that?
I think one of our points, we raised the issue of one of our recommendations. We raised the issue of bilateral and multilateral agreements as one of the key recommendations, and we think that with China coming on board fully, it will be a good thing for Africa, because the world is now moving to a stage where we cannot be working in isolation. You need others to able to move to the next level of your development. And if I talk about the next level of development, I'm looking at mutual agreement that will be of benefit to both countries in terms of economic, social, and political and cultural. And I believe that with the concept of bilateral and multilateral relationship in international diplomacy, it will be of great immense help if we have countries like China and other Asian countries coming on board. And I think it will be a good thing. I don't know if my team can add up to some points. Randolph and the rest are also there.
Yeah, I think it's a great point that you. Now, the question I want to ask though is, now, why is it that non-Western theories are limited? Is it that we don't have scholars who take interest in researching, or is it that it is not a priority? Any thoughts?
I think there are multiple factors. There was a period in history where the Western scholars are dominated in terms of intellectual discourse, in terms of research, in terms of capacity, technical capacity, resources. And I think for that period, consistently they have dominated the knowledge gap. And it seems like the other non-countries were not showing much focus on also bringing out narratives that seems to challenge the status quo, but remain quiet. And for that period, there has been a consistent decade of dominance of international relations theories in those Western countries. And I think one of the key points that the case study that was studied over 10 years, one of the key points was lack of resources as one of the points. And the lack of resources here, they were making reference to technical resources in terms of capacity, and also the fact that the condition prevailing at that time kind of more or less, quote unquote, discriminated at other voices from coming out with other theories. I don't know how, to a large extent, how that in reality was, but that's what the case study was talking about. This is a 10-year case study, was done by two scholars, and it was published in one of the most renowned journals in Asia and in Western countries. And they realized that one of the key factors was lack of resources, and that was because there was a major long-term dominance of the Western-centric philosophies and ideologies, which kind of influenced the way intellectual discourse was done. So I think one of the key problems was lack of resources and capacity to able to push those theories.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you very much. Any other question, contribution? Any of the group members want to add on to Aaron's presentation? Anyone? All right. If not, please let's unmute ourselves and let's give the team a very good round of applause. That's a very good presentation. Good job. Good job. Good job.